As I was saying, I'm pleased to introduce and welcome Ms. Sejal. Sejal leads the curriculum and learning design function at the Institute of Product Leadership. In the past, she has taken various roles in the area of learning and development in the education sector. In addition to a learning designer, she's also an avid researcher whose research centers around the disciplines of psychology and user behavior. Pleased to welcome you this morning, Sejal.
Majority of you are on this side. Okay, anyway, so I'm Sejal, and I want to talk today about unraveling women and who we are. And to do that, I want to start with the riddle. And it's quite a sad one, but let's see, if you're able to solve it. So this father and son, and they're at their home, and they get a call, and they immediately need to leave and they need to reach somewhere. It's a dark, late night, it's windy, it's with heavy rains, and the father is old. He's about maybe late 40s or early 50s, and he's got a vision problem, right? In the night, he can't see very clearly. But because they get this call and they're like, wanting to leave in the hurry and reach somewhere because of the call that they get. So they anyway decide to hit the door, and they have this little talk also, and then he does, no, don't worry, I'm going to manage this, don't worry at all. So they anyway decide to drive and they hit the road. And the roads are also not favorable. It's in a very hilly, steep region. And they anyway decide to go, and he's driving and he's managing so far very well. And there comes a point where there's a curve, and he was supposed to take a right there, but he misses that turn and he crashes into a tree. And it's a very bad accident. The car is like completely crashed. The father dies instantly. The son is surviving. There was a patrol car there, and thankfully they found, both of them. They immediately went, they checked, the father was dead, so they immediately went to the other seat. They saw, the son is there, the younger one, he's still breathing, surviving. It's very terrible accident. So they call for the ambulance. They take him out. They put him onto the structure, put him into the ambulance, and take him to the nearest possible hospital. Again, over there, he's rushed to the emergency room. Once he's rushed to the emergency room and he's on the bed there, the doctor comes. And as soon as the doctor sees this boy there, the doctor tells, I can't do this. I can't operate. He's my son. I can't do this. How is that possible?
The mother.
Yeah, the mother was the surgeon, right? So we have like very smart people in the room here. So good, you got that. But over the past, wherever this riddle was given, among 200 people in Boston University, age group of 7 to 14, who are very young, right? They couldn't guess it right. Only 14% people got it right. And over, wherever they have done this test, they have seen that most of them don't get it right. Because the way we think about people taking on certain roles, like a doctor or maybe somebody in the army, what is the first picture that comes into your mind? It's somebody who's a man, right? And we don't naturally think that it could be a woman. So why do we think this way? We as women, we wouldn't get it right. I mean, I got it wrong when I got it for the first time. I couldn't get it right. And I was thinking, God, look at me and how I think, So why do we think like this, right? That's because of the mental models that we have. The mental models are concepts, frameworks, and a certain worldview with which we operate in the world, right? And how are these mental models, then shaped and formed? Is because of the images that we are exposed to every day growing up. So these mental models are also responsible then to shape your thinking. Your thinking gets shaped because of this. Your attitudes and beliefs are also formed because of what you see and what you think. And how are these mental models formed then? Is because of the influences. So family and friends form one part of the influence, especially the nature and the nurture. You're getting nurtured in your family, etc., and what you see in your family. then your workplace and your colleagues form one part of it, and then your media and institution. So these are the major, influencers that shape the way that we think. In fact, for me, growing up, in a Gujarati community, and always looking at, women playing this more, submissive role, serving, and the male, playing the more dominant role. I grew up seeing this. Thankfully, because of the exposure to our college, to our workplace, and then we see, women taking on certain important roles is somehow then you're able to question, your own mental models and think about it that, okay, this could be something different. In fact, I remember, if I can take you back to this one incident, I was like 26-year-old then, and one of my, peers told me, this is not how it's supposed to be. You don't have to take permission to do this. And for me, it was like, oh, really? But I didn't know that. This is how I have been, operating all this while. So it's important that we first of all become aware that there are certain mental models and certain way of thinking with which we operate, and then, recognize it. Become aware of your mental models. The second thing that you can do, to break through, the traditional thinking that we have, is to then create interventions. So you may be, currently in a working or wherever, we generally hesitate, right, to raise a hand for any projects that are coming up, or maybe even to confront your male colleague. You're always, taking the low risk, kind of a approach to anything that you have, and you need to question that over and over again, because you have already framed, your mind in such a way that, okay, so far I have been this person, and I have been doing this, and I've been operating with this model. And so if I suddenly become a person who is going to be rude, I don't know what's going to happen and how I'm going to be able to manage that, right? But you have to identify and take those risks and create those interventions for your own self at different points, and create those opportunities for yourself. Then you need to practice this over, let's say, a few months. It's very difficult, and I can tell you this because I have done this myself, and it's taken great pain, effort, and it's taken a lot of years, to think differently than what I was. And then go back, maybe to your friends, family, and ask them, hey, do you see any difference in, how I was? Maybe, do you find? Sometimes if they watch you and observe you very closely, they will start noticing these differences in you, and they themselves will actually tell you, hey, what's wrong with you, you went like this. And let me also tell you, it's not acceptable to the people if you suddenly, come across as somebody else. They'll be like, hey, I don't know you, what's happened to you, right? So for them also it's not acceptable, because sometimes it's not conducive to them, right? But people who want good for you, who really want you to take on, risk, responsibilities, they are going to support you in everything that you do, and they truly want to see you grow, right? So go to those people and check with them, hey, has my body language changed? Do you notice any difference in me? And measure these. So you have to create goals for yourself, and then keep measuring these goals and seeing whether you're able to achieve these, breakthrough way of thinking as such, I would say. So if there's, one thing that I want you to take away today is that always question your assumptions. Why am I thinking the way that I am? Am I going in the right direction? Try and find a mentor if you can, who's probably going to be able to see what you can't see, is going to be able to see, your strengths in the way that you can't, somebody that you can confide in and trust, and then create these goals for yourself and break through any thinking that's kind of coming in the way for you to achieve those goals of yours. Yeah? So that's one thing that I want you to take away from today, and thank you so much.